Weather-wise, catching a break in Pittsburgh. Very cold during the week. Couple of pleasant days on the weekend. 57 degrees game time temperature today. Sean Payton's team, losers of 3 in a row, remarkably all at home against 3 very good teams, the 49ers, the Bengals, and then last week against Baltimore. Meanwhile, for Mike Tomlin, 42 years young, out of Newport News, Virginia. Taking the Steelers to the playoffs 4 times, 3 divisional championships, but back-to-back 8-8 seasons. And they're starting to get a little antsy. They're used to postseason football here in the Steel City.
Well, only 3 big-time coaches have played here, and they've all had success. I think when you think of Mike Tomlin and what he's been able to do since he's been here, 2 Super Bowl champions, and then you look at also their quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, has been a staple of this football team, the face of the franchise. And with Mike Tomlin, they're looking for him to get back on track, and this would be the year for them to do it.
Saints won the toss, deferred to get to the football in the second half, and this one banged through the back of the end zone by Thomas Morstead. So here comes Big Ben, 32 years old, grew up in Corey, Rawson, Ohio, has the league's 4th most passing yards, a career best 68% of his passes he's completed. And look at those numbers at home, where the Steelers are averaging 35 points per game.
You know what, when you look at this offense, I've always said I think they need to get back to the old running style with the Jerome Bettises. But when you have Le'Veon Bell, he not only can run the football effectively, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So keep an eye on to see if they attack the run here to get the defense to show what they're going to do.
Hey, base, 50. Shut up.
They'll throw it on first down. And overthrown. He had an eye on the second-year wideout Marcus Wheaton. The Steeler team offensively, so many weapons. Bell in his second year out of Michigan State. Is there anybody better so far this year at wide receiver than Antonio Brown?
Not at all. You know, and that's just the comfort level that he and Ben both have. It's something that they work on during the practice week. And I think with Ben, being an older veteran in this game, he understands you need a security blanket. So it's not always a deep pass. Watch it immediately.
First carry for Le'Veon Bell. Looking for running room, and not much there. Maybe picked up 3. Meanwhile, for the New Orleans Saints defensively, they were ranked number 4 overall in defense last year under Rob Ryan. They have slipped all the way to 27th this year.
You know, I look at this defense, and it all starts up front, and I think they're not winning the line of scrimmage. You have to win the line of scrimmage battle, and that's getting to the quarterback, stopping the run. They've been giving up entirely too many big explosive plays in the running game, and that leads to being a 3rd and medium, 3rd and short. They need to force this team to be back behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, 3rd down has been so critical for this Saints defense, and the Steelers will cash in on 3rd down. And who else? You talked about that security blanket. Antonio Brown is NFL leading 89th reception.
In the last 4 weeks, this young man has been targeted 49 times with 38 catches. You can definitely tell the comfort level with Ben Roethlisberger. Look, for all quarterbacks, you want to spread the ball around, get everybody involved to get the defense to understand we're not just going to our number 1 guy. But when you have a guy like Antonio Brown, you find ways to put the ball in his hands.
The last 2 weeks, the Bengals and the Ravens were 18 of 26. Think about that for a minute. 18 out of 26 success on 3rd down. And on first down, Martavis Bryant, the rookie out of Clemson, crosses midfield. Another Steeler first down.
You know, if you just take a look here, Ben Roethlisberger doing an excellent job of showing ball to the linebackers, can now commit and go right over the top to his wide receiver here. When you have a wide receiver with the height of Bryant, you can just put it up, let him go get it, and then now just let him be an athlete and run through tackles. Great job by Ben Roethlisberger and this offense.
Boy, 4 down.
A couple of youngsters, Bryant and Wheaton, have combined so far this year for 8 touchdown receptions.
Blue 80. Blue 80.
Bell his second carry, and he's down to the 43-yard line. Bell coming off his best game in the NFL against Tennessee 2 weeks ago. Remember, the Steelers had a bye week last week. 204 rushing yards, the 4th most all time in a game in Steeler history.
And the comeback came from really with them running the football. Normally when you're down on offense, you want to spread the ball around, get the ball downfield, get some quick strikes. But they decided to run the football. That's just the comfort level and also the maturation process that they have in Le'Veon Bell.
Well, how about that shot of Franco Harris? The flea flicker here did not fool the Saints, and Roethlisberger just throws it away. Read beautifully by Keenan Lewis, the former Steeler.
He could have just afforded 2 or 3 more seconds with that. He had Antonio Brown going down the middle of the football field. If you just take a look here, great job by Antonio Brown selling the run, getting up to the safety and creating separation to turn with Carl's hips. That right there would have been an explosive play and had probably this fan base going crazy.
So another third down, the second on this game opening drive.
Hey, base, 50-50.
Nearly intercepted. Roethlisberger under pressure, and Corey White nearly got it. So the Steelers will punt.
You know what? It's something to be said for the offensive line, has to battle. But give a little credit here to this defensive line. Cameron Jordan coming off, being able to get on the arm of Ben Roethlisberger to force a high pass, which almost led to a turnover, which would have went the other way.
Brad Wing to punt.
Brad Wing to punt. Jalen Saunders standing back at his own 10-yard line, end over end punt. And down to the 15. So when we come back, we'll get a look at Drew Brees after a good start for this Saints defense. Drew Brees and the Saints get the football for the first time today, starting from their own 15, under heavy pressure right away, and he dumps it off to Mr. Dependable over the last 8 years, and that would be Pierre Thomas. And a first down on first down. Much has been made about the Saints playing on the road. How do they play outside of the dome down in New Orleans? Those are not bad numbers for a quarterback in a career on the road.
Just when you look at this offense, you think outside in bad weather conditions, they got to run the football. They're not a power running football team, but we're marking them this year. Things have changed.
Let's throw it again. Looked like a pretty good pass right there to Nick Toon, who's been inactive for all but 2 games during this entire year. But again, they're without Robert Meacham.
Number 72 offense, 10-yard penalty remains. First down.
Teron Armstead whistled for the penalty. Pete Morelli, our referee today in Pittsburgh.
You just take a look here. You'll see the left tackle, getting caught for a holding. Something we said that we were talking to Mike Tomlin when he was talking about old Devo back, meaning James Harrison. And the pressure that he's been applying the last 4 weeks has been quite impressive. So keep an eye on that matchup going on throughout the whole day.
First carry from Mark Ingram, former Heisman Trophy winner out of Alabama, up to the 21-yard line. Well, the Saints, when you look at some of the numbers, Donovan, they look really good. Second overall in offense, but not scoring at the same rate as they have in years past.
And that's the thing, talking to Drew Brees, he wanted them to be a little bit more consistent in the red zone. They have opportunities from their defense or possibly drives. They're just not capitalizing, and that usually at the end of the game have ended up hurting them.
Cutting it back to the inside is Cadet. His 33rd catch of the year. It'll bring up a third down for New Orleans. They put the old band back together here again in Pittsburgh defensively.
When you look at these 4 guys, I tell you, it all starts with Ike Taylor getting hurt in the Carolina game. He had been out. Watching some of these young guys develop, talking to him yesterday, he basically was impressed by what McCann and Blake have been able to bring to the table. And Dick LeBeau has been the staple of this defense. And I tell you, they look at Dick LeBeau as Pop, as they call him.
What an extraordinary career the Hall of Fame defensive coordinator the Steelers has had. Good protection here. And incomplete. He had an eye on Marcus Colston. And right there, step for step in coverage, was Bryce McCain, who continues to get more and more playing time in absence of Cortez Allen.
That's the whole thing right there. Great job of getting a hand on the ball and just distracting Marcus Colson. Mike Tomlin spoke highly of McCann, of what he's been able to do in Ike Taylor's his absence. But, you know, it's more to be said about this defense. It's the next man up mentality and the confidence that they have in these guys stepping up to make plays. And that right there is defining.
Orsted just does get it away. Angling near the sideline, and we'll see where they spot it. Right at the 35. On that punt, Bryce McCain injured. Appeared to be reaching for his right hamstring. Carissa will have more on that shortly. First down carry by Le'Veon Bell. You know, we talked about it's not always who you play or when you play, but where you play.
Right.
Look at the NFC South. Every team with at least 7 losses now because of the one head-to-head game, a win by Atlanta over New Orleans week 1. They would hold the tiebreaker, but they have another game left. Who wants to win that thing?
You know, that's the big question right now. You look at Atlanta, sometimes they show you something on offense, but defensively, they just don't have it. In New Orleans, same way. So I think for that particular game, that may be the deciding game.
Of course, Carolina, the defending divisional champion, may have something to say about all that. And a big run for Le'Veon Bell. He's up to midfield, and that's a Steeler first down.
Great job right here, Le'Veon Bell, but it was spurred open by Will Johnson, their fullback, being able to open up the hole. Le'Veon Bell has really impressed a lot of these coaches here, including the players, of just how he's continued to improve, not only picking up the blitz, which is important by running back, but picking up those extra yards you need to keep the chains moving.
Bell, a young man who grew up in Reynoldsburg, Ohio, just outside of Columbus, was not recruited by Ohio State. Wound up at Michigan State. And, well, you can understand why the Spartans wanted him. Taking half a defense to try and drag him down.
You know, it's something to be said when a running back, you know, is delivering the blow, getting his pads underneath the defender and being able to keep his legs moving. It's about the drive. And this young man takes you back to the old, you know, the old Jerome Bettis, the bus. You talk about Franco Harris, all these strong running backs who have taken the pressure off of their quarterbacks, and he's doing that this year for Ben Roethlisberger.
Second most rushing yards in the NFL. There's Franco. They're having the 1974 reunion over this weekend in Pittsburgh. That was the first Steeler team to win a Super Bowl. Le'Veon Bell for maybe a yard. And we'll check in for the first time today with Kurt Menefee back in Los Angeles.
Well, since everybody in the NFC South is still in it, Saints fans will like this. Carolina down 7-0. Kyle Rudolph threw a 4-yard catch from Teddy Bridgewater, and the Vikings have the lead in -7-degree wind chill Minnesota. Tom and Donovan.
Hold on.
All right, thank you very much, Kurt.
Yeah.
10 plays, 5 passes, 5 rushes for the Steelers. They're on the move this second possession.
Ball 68. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains. First down.
Donovan, all of that going on with Ben Roethlisberger. Take us through what he's doing at the line of scrimmage.
Well, what you want to do is you want the defense to show their hand, so to speak. Now they're going in motion, bringing the running back out, seeing if a linebacker or a safety will go out to cover, knowing they have man if they decide to do that. Right there, they stayed in the zone and just let Keenan Lewis just kind of outflank to cover a guy like Le'Veon Bell. But unfortunately, you know, Kelvin Beachum jumping off sides really messed things up. But expect them to go back to that same formation to attack the middle of the field.
Play fake. Roethlisberger moving around and throws a little too tall for Marcus Wheaton. He was open down at the 20-yard line.
You know, again, Ben Roethlisberger in the great fake, sticking the ball out, showing the ball so linebackers can commit. Here, it looked like he was trying to go inside, but ended up going to his third read, which ended up going backside to his wide receiver, Justin Hyde throw. If he can bring that down during the course of this game, there are going to be many opportunities in the passing game.
Wheaton only had 6 catches in his rookie year a season ago. He's closing in on 40 in this his sophomore year. play, it looks like. And they hand it off. Well, we'll see.
Bell, the ball carrier, flagging the play.
Offside. Number 94 defense. 5-yard penalty remains. Third down.
So rather than what, 3rd and 14, that becomes 3rd down and 9.
Ben Roethlisberger doing a great job with the hard count to get Cameron Jordan to jump off sides, give yourself a free play. You wish there was a pass tag to that so that you can possibly, attack downfield. Well, 3rd down here, just take a look and keep an eye on Antonio Brown. He's been his guy. Antonio Brown has been his guy on 3rd down.
Pocket collapses, and Roethlisberger throws incomplete, drag down by Junior Galette.
Antonio Brown being his guy, deciding now to be a clear out route. He had an opportunity outside, but with pressure up the middle for any quarterback, it makes the pocket tough. And you got to find ways to get the ball out of your hands.
This will be a lengthy field goal try for Sean Sweezum, who's hit on 18 out of 20. 2 weeks ago, hit a season-best 53-yarder. And officially, this one from 49. Good snap. And how about that?
How about that curve right there?
Very, very nice. Every now and again, it's nice to have a slice, isn't it?
I'm telling you.
Aerial coverage provided by Nationwide. Sellout crowd in Pittsburgh. The Steelers trying to keep pace with the Bengals, the Ravens, the Browns. Everybody in this AFC North with 7 wins this year. Breeze back on offense, trailing 3-0. Steelers have had the football triple the amount of time of the Saints, but it's just a 3-0 Steelers lead. First down for the Saints at the 20. Ingram has really been slowed down the last couple of weeks. He had put together 3 straight 100-yard rushing games. Let's check in downstairs with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. Well, the Steelers might be down 1 in their secondary. Bryce McCain went out on that last play, kind of pulled up on his right hamstring. They took him to the sideline, medical staff stretching him out, had him run along the sideline. He's currently sitting down with a heating pad. He is listed as questionable.
So the man next up, as they say, would be Antoine Blake, number 41. He's come in on his 2nd down and 6.
Lion.
Breeze gets away, throws incomplete. Greg Kiesel, the initial pressure, had help from Cameron Hayward.
Great job here by the Pittsburgh Steelers running a TE stunt, which is a tackle in whip technique coming inside. Brent Kiesel being able to apply pressure to Drew Brees to force him to try to get the ball out, which ended up, if he would have threw a little high and throwing late, could end up being a turnover. Note that Drew Brees, he's 0 for 1 right now on 3rd down and has his lowest QB rating this year, so he's really got to pick that up.
6 of his 11 interceptions have come on 3rd down. And he missed a wide-open Kenny Stills down the middle of the field. Took a hit once more by the former Ohio State Buckeye Cameron Hayward.
Again, great job with pressure up the middle. It makes the pocket warm for any quarterback to force him to get the ball out of his hands quickly. And he had a guy wide open. That's one that I think they'll go off on the sideline and probably come up with that same type of play with a different formation to attack him downfield.
So 3 and out. They're kicking it away from Antonio Brown. They don't even want to take a chance. And he's out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Breeze feeling the heat. Look inside that AFC North for the Steelers. 2 of their final 5 will be against Cincinnati. They go to the Queen City next weekend, and then the Final game of the season will be the Bengals here in Pittsburgh. And that should have been a pick six for Patrick Robinson.
You know, this is something that's been bothering this New Orleans Saints football team. Those opportunities right there could give them what they need in order to win these football games. But this has to be a block by the tight end here. If you take a look, you know, I don't know what the tight end was thinking at that particular time, but he's got to come out and block the corner and give Antonio Brown an opportunity to look upfield and make a guy miss. This is just something that they have to get cleaned up quickly because it can become a problem late in the game.
Well, the Saints have not had an interception in the opposition's last 104 passing attempts. Le'Veon Bell for maybe two. It'll bring up third down again for the Steelers. Roethlisberger off to a very slow start today. His last two home games, you may remember, threw 12 touchdowns in 2 games.
Yes. And you talk about a quarterback being on fire. I tell you, you know, this young man throwing for over 400 yards and, you know, just going back and forth. It just seemed like a PlayStation game, the numbers he was putting up. But I tell you, they need to get back on track, and that's being more balanced and being more effective here on third down.
Third down, Antonio Brown. Roethlisberger is hurt.
You know, if you take a look at Ben Roethlisberger, this is a great job of just sitting in the pocket and just throwing with the pressure in your face. You know, Ben has been in this league long enough. He understands. Just give his receivers an opportunity to make a big play, and things will happen.
It looked like his hand or his wrist made contact with either the helmet or the shoulder pad of Curtis Lofton in on the blitz.
Keep an eye on, see if they decide to run the football to give Ben a chance to get back together.
They hand it off to Bell, spins out of a tackle, spins out of another, and that'll be a gain of nearly 5 for Le'Veon Bell.
You take a look here, Ben, knowing he's getting pressured, hitting his hand on the wrist of Curtis Lofton, you know, and putting the ball in a great position that Antonio Brown can catch it. Here, he's handing the ball off, something that we've seen a little bit in warm-ups with Ben doing, handing the ball off with his opposite hand. And if you keep an eye, if you've seen him, he asked for another run play, so this may be another run play here going to the running back.
Bell trying to be patient and just nowhere to go. For a third down and 5 upcoming, we check in once more back in Los Angeles. A game break with Kurt Menefee.
Well, here's something you literally don't see every day. A block punt by Adam Thielen of the Vikings. He scoops it up, takes it in 30 yards for the score. That's the first time Minnesota has had a block punt for a touchdown since 1986. They're up 14-0 over Carolina. Tom, Donovan, and Carissa.
All right, Kurt, thank you. Third down and 5 for the Steelers. Roethlisberger has not thrown a pass
5-7
since that right hand made contact with Curtis Lofton, and he's not going to pass it here. They'll need to. And Bell for a first down to the 29-yard line.
Great job by Ty Haley dialing up another run versus this zone defense, which opened up holes by the offensive line, establishing the line of scrimmage, pulling her to block out Cameron Jordan, doing a great job of giving this running back 2 opportunities to either go outside or inside for Le'Veon Bell. Again, we talked about him, one of the best running backs in the AFC, and he's proven it today.
Over 1,000 yards on the season for Le'Veon Bell. This just his second year after they got him in the second round out of Michigan State last season. A stiff arm to Hawthorne. And picks up close to 5. They still have not thrown it since Ben hit his hand on Lofton.
You know, again, as a quarterback, it's important that you're able to follow through with your throws. Right there, Curtis Lofton did a great job of getting his hand up. And just taking a look here, handing the ball off with his opposite hand, being his left hand, and then ask for another run play. But one thing that I begin to question now with Rob Ryan, you know that the quarterback's hurt and they're running the football. You know, why not blitz? Why not blitz to force them to throw the football and work out in your favor? They're just sitting back in the zone.
Another handoff, and again to Bell. Picks up a yard. It'll bring up another third down.
Bell, the ball carrier.
Well, Bell came in with the second most rushing yards in the league to DeMarco Murray at 951 yards, and now up over 1,000. Look at that, averaging nearly 5 per carry.
You know, and that right there really gives your offense balance. When you're able to run the football, I know so many people look at the yards, but it's more about the attempts. If you're able to get about 30 to 35, maybe 40 rushes a game, now you're not asking your quarterback to throw the ball 40 times.
Well, they roll him out here, and that is the first down. Catch made by the longtime Saint, Lance Moore. What a career he had in New Orleans. They signed him as an undrafted free agent, and he put together some outstanding seasons. That's his first catch today. Gradkowski making sure he doesn't need to maybe get that helmet. Start of the second quarter, Steelers on the move. This will be the 10th play of this drive, which began at their own 27.
White 80. Easy. Alert. Hey, shut up.
And Bell inside the 15, close to the 13-yard line. And, you know, we saw that practice throw that Roethlisberger had with Gradkowski, his backup. That came in between plays before that completion to Moore, and he still doesn't look all that comfortable.
You know, it's going to take some time. He's got to warm that wrist up. You know, it's a follow-through technique that all quarterbacks have to go through. When it gets jammed, it feels like feel a little numbness down your wrist. So for Ben, expect a pass here. I expect him to kind of get back in rhythm with the passing game, because now watch out for this all-out blitz.
He's going to throw it. And nearly snatched away from the defender for a touchdown by Antonio Brown. It looked like another possible interception for Robinson.
You know, again, Patrick Robinson, you have to take advantage of the opportunities. That right there the ball was thrown directly to you. You have to come down with the ball and give an opportunity for your offense to get down and drive. This is something that's been a problem for the New Orleans Saints all throughout the season, not taking advantage of all those opportunities.
You know, that's the way this drive began, you may remember. On the very first play, it should have been a pick six for Patrick Robinson. Steelers perfect on this drive on third down, and broken up by Corey White. Looking to Martavis Bryant, the 6'5" target in the end zone.
You know, one thing you want to do as a quarterback when you have a tall wide receiver is you want to give him an opportunity, but he has to come down with that ball. That ball hit him directly in the hands. If he's able to come down with that and get his feet inside of the pylon, that ends up being a touchdown.
When you talk about missed opportunities, I mean, where these teams are in their respective divisions, so many little plays over the course of a game can make the difference in that one win and you're in, that one loss and you're out. Squeeze him, bangs it through to make it a 6-0 Pittsburgh lead. Still taking a look at Ben Roethlisberger over there on the Pittsburgh sideline. Wanted to find out exactly where they should be looking.
They looked all around the wrist. I mean, for Ben Roethlisberger, I think this is one now. It's warmed up. He's looking to get back in rhythm. You know, those two passes show that obviously he has his fire back on the ball. You know, for a quarterback that spins it, you can definitely tell when either it's bothering him or he's back at 100%. And we've seen that tight spiral back that we used to see with Ben.
Saints will get it at the 20. Well, this coming weekend for the nation's top teams, a must-win game to keep their championship hopes alive. The Pac-12 title game on Friday night, the Big Ten championship game on Saturday, only on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Congratulations to our colleague and partner Troy Aikman. Had his jersey retired yesterday at his alma mater, UCLA. His daughter's there with him. What a great moment for the Aikman clan. Congratulations. Ingram, a good carry on first down, close to 6.
That's been something that, Sean Payton talked about, of how impressed he was with Mark Ingram coming in. Over the past couple of years, he's been injured. He's healthy this year. He suffered some injury early in the year, but he's bounced back, and he's been doing a great job of carrying the football. There's 6 yards on that carry now. You get a second and medium, get you in better position to throw maybe a quick slant, maybe a quick hitch here.
Not a catch for Graham in the early going. Red Zanito. And that is good enough for a first down up to the 31-yard line. Catch by Travaris Cadet.
Just take a look here. Jimmy Graham obviously is a guy you got to focus in on. You're going to find your best cover linebacker to cover him, maybe even your best corner. Talking to Ike Taylor, that was one that he elaborated on yesterday, of being that guy that may follow Jimmy Graham around.
Play action. Beautifully defended in the secondary by the linebacker Sean Spence, who starts in place of the rookie Ryan Shazier. Let's check in with Joel Klatt back in L.A.
All right, Tom, we go to Tampa Bay. Doug Martin from 7 yards out. He takes it in, and Tampa Bay's up 10-0 on the Bucs. Remember, Cincinnati, half-game lead over the rest of the AFC North. Tampa trying to keep pace with New Orleans.
It's a third straight road game for the Bengals. They're trying to make it 3 straight road wins, but down 10-0 early on, and this is Ingram. Broke a tackle in the backfield, but it's dragged down right at the line of scrimmage. It'll bring up 3rd down and 10 for the Saints.
Again, when you look at this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, it's about pressure. Dick LeBeau is known for that over the last decade and more. And so when you look at the old band coming back, Rick Kiesel there, getting to the legs of Mark Ingram, James Harrison, Ike Taylor, all these guys are now starting to flow to show these young guys we need to get back to physical football.
Nowhere near the first down mark on the catch by Pierre Thomas. Now that's a very odd route or a place to go nowhere near.
Well, when you keep your eyes up as a quarterback, and Drew Brees, all his guys were covered. They did a great job in the secondary. You just have to take what the defense gives you. It's nothing wrong with punting, because now you get on the opposite side of the 50 and you can push them back and give them a long field to drive. And so I think Sean Payton and Drew Brees will talk about that on the sideline, but that was a great job by Drew.
42 total yards thus far, and only 2 first downs for the Saints. Antonio Brown from the 14. And a good return up to the 25. Well, Mike Tomlin's defense has given up a pile of points so far this year, but working on a shutout here at home against the Saints. The plan was not for the Steelers to bring back a lot of the aging veterans on that defense.
Blue 80.
So they brought in Kiesel near the end of training camp. They re-signed James Harrison 4 weeks into the year. First catch by the tight end Heath Miller, having another outstanding season. And that's a short gain of 2 on first down.
You talk about bringing the band back. How about the old guys that are still here? Heath Miller, 10 years since he was drafted from Virginia, 6'5", 256. He suffered some injury early in his career, but he's been a guy that has made his mark here with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Steelers all-time leader at the tight end position in receptions, receiving yards, touchdowns.
Hey, Mike, 50. Blue 20. Blue 20.
Bell, a second down carry. Boy, he's so patient. Just waits for that little bit of daylight and slithers through up to the 32. It'll bring up 3rd down.
He reminds me so much of an Edgerrin James, and that was something that Edgerrin James and Marshall Faulk were known for, just the patience of allowing his offensive linemen to get on their blocks, cover up, and now open up a hole for him. you know, this young man has definitely matured in this offense, and everyone is impressed with him.
I'm surprised you said something nice about Marshall Faulk. He had you out for the league MVP one year, if I remember right.
Well, you know, hey, sometimes it goes to the best man.
Once more, just a little high off the fingertips of Bell. He is not only a weapon running the ball, but out of the backfield, he has 57 receptions.
You know, had a matchup one-on-one versus the linebacker David Hawthorne there. Just bring it down a little bit, give him an opportunity to catch and turn upfield. He might have made a miss, and it could have been a big-time play.
First 3 and out for the Saints defense today, and only the 15th all year long for them. Wing puts a left foot on it. Saunders will let it bounce and run far away from it. At the 20 with 9:47. Kiesel's been growing that beard for about 4.5 years now. That's a good look.
The power of the beard.
Saints defense has done a nice job today. They've given up 138 yards, but only 6 points. But the offense has done virtually nothing. And that continues on a first down carry.
You know, I think it's something to be said about this Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line. They're establishing the line of scrimmage. They're pushing the offensive line from the New Orleans Saints back 2 yards, and which leads that running game to really begin to falter.
Now the hurry-up offense has given the Steelers some trouble over the last couple of years. Cleveland gave them fits earlier this season when they went in hurry-up mode. And a catch by Stills, and that's very close to a first down. It looks like he got there to the 32.
You know, one thing you'll see here is when you get to a hurry-up offense, you have to show your hand as a defense because you're afraid of the quick snap. They go right into the zone defense with off coverage on the outside. He does a great job of taking advantage of the off coverage in the slot. Kenny Stills doing a good job of collecting the ball and getting the first down. So keep an eye on New Orleans doing that again throughout this game.
Well, they brought in an entirely new personnel package on first down, so they huddled up. Play action, and Breeze in trouble. Just throws it away.
With max protection there, you had Ike Taylor on top of Jimmy Graham. Marcus Colson taking the top off of coverage. Great job in the coverage from the Pittsburgh Steelers, which led to Drew Brees throwing the ball out of bounds.
And once more, 4 in, 4 out, and they huddle up. Second down and 10. First catch of the day by Marcus Colston. Well, what a career Colston has had. He was the 252nd player selected in the 2006 draft, and he is the Saints' all-time leader in virtually every receiving category.
You know, for a guy that's about 6'4", continue to be a staple for them in this offense. They bring in Jimmy Graham. They bring in a lot of these smaller wide receivers to work the inside. They move him not only from the outside, but they bring him inside as well. So they're over 3 right now on third down.
They're going to try that by running the ball. They pitch it to Pierre Thomas. He leapfrogs a defender and picks up the first down into Steeler territory. At the 47-yard line, Thomas, another guy who's been there and been so reliable, so effective as a runner and as a receiver.
You know, back on the backside, we talked about Ike Taylor. We talked about, you know, a lot of their linebackers. Timmons being the guys that's going to cover Jimmy Graham. They'll probably double team him if he's inside. But going the opposite way gave an opportunity for them to get those big yards.
Broke through. And he's inside the 30, run out of bounds at the 27-yard line. And a penalty flag comes in late. First time the Saints have ventured into Steeler territory. Mitchell has been a solid pickup, signing as a free agent from Carolina, but from time to time he will make some mental mistakes and get penalized for them. We'll see if this one's on him.
There's no foul in the play for a late hit out of bounds. Result of the play is the first out.
You know, take a look here. They're going to the weak side of this defense and the weak side of the formation, which gives Mark Ingram an opportunity to get inside versus with his fullback leading the way. But this guy's been doing a great job for them all season of being able to pick up those yards in a rushing game.
It's a gain of 20. They get it right back to him in another big run for Ingram. 12 yards to the Steeler 15-yard line, and now the Saints are banging on the door with a chance to take the lead.
You know, again, we talked about this with Drew Brees. Getting in the red area, they have to score touchdowns. Too many times they've given up with just field goals. And when you're playing a team like Pittsburgh, who we've seen at home, be able to find ways to get in the end zone and score a bunch of points, you want to be able to go back and forth with them. So take a look here. I mean, Jimmy Graham hasn't been in this passing game yet. This is the time you want to be able to utilize his size.
And look who's wide open in the end zone. And it is a touchdown to Benjamin Watson, the backup to Graham. And they're a point after away from a 1-point lead. So 3 straight running plays for 45 yards. And then this.
You know, when you're going with the 2 tight end set here, he really had both of them. But, you know, when you have a safety that kind of would draw to Jimmy Graham, that will leave Ben Watson wide open on the outside. Great job of catching the ball and getting his feet in to secure that touchdown.
Brees, his 23rd touchdown of the season, 32 games in a row. Of course, he holds the NFL record, 54 straight. Point after good. So don't look now. But after dominating the Saints through the opening quarter, New Orleans puts together a drive primarily on the ground, and they cap it off with a touchdown pass to Watson. Well, you talk about a young man you can look up to on the field and off the field. It would be Benjamin Watson. Spent all those years in Cleveland. You didn't hear a lot about him, but the more you read about him, you know, not only what he does on the field, but off the field, he has just been a guy that's easy to root for.
Yeah. You know, being in New England, Cleveland, and then coming here, it was one in which I think he was brought in as a mentor to a guy like Jimmy Graham and the rest of these tight ends. You know, he shows them how to prepare, how to be a professional, how to prepare yourself each and every week out there on the football field, and a way to reward him. How about that, of just going and getting into the end zone? So that's what makes it exciting to see him getting a touchdown catch.
The wind has really picked up down on the field, and so they're going to hold the kickoff. And it looks like Wheaton will have a chance to bring it out from the 2-yard line. And a good return by Wheaton. Still on his feet across the 40. And run out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
41-yard return there by Marcus Wheaton, doing a great job of setting up his blocks, now finding the hole and just exploding through the hole. You wish that they could have put a body on number 91, which would probably ended up being more of a touchdown or possibly more of a big yard gain. But 41 yards there now gets this offense in great field position.
Yeah, they just put Wheaton back there 2 weeks ago. They've been looking for somebody to give him a little more spark in the return game. Kick return game. First down, Bell followed up at the line of scrimmage. That'll be a gain of 2. Well, Mr. McNabb, it is nice to get you out of that studio. I mean, you know, get you out here and start calling some ball games. And, you know, so far, a lot of the things you wondered about, we talked about at the very beginning. Could the Saints do a little more on third down? They've been pretty good on defense today so far.
They have, and the consistency was something that I talked about in the beginning. And what I'm seeing right now, they're applying pressure to Ben Roethlisberger. He's ineffective, 5 of 14 passing the ball. And if they continue to get pressure up the middle to force Ben to get off his spot, they got a better chance.
Wide open is Miller, and he is chopped down by Robinson. A first down to the New Orleans 42-yard line.
You great play action fake here. We've seen him run this in practice and being able to run a pop pass here to Heath Miller. Their long-lasting tight end's been there over the decade, and he's continued to make big plays after big plays just like that throughout his career.
Well, among all active tight ends, only Antonio Gates and Jason Witten have more receptions and more receiving yards than Heath Miller.
Inside, y'all.
Good protection. And looking down the field. And it is intercepted by Vaccaro. First target of Darius Hayward-Bay into double coverage. And after missing a couple of chances for interceptions, the Saints get one here.
Had been just trying to be aggressive and force the ball to Darius Hayward-Bay. Bad decision on his part, throwing it right there for Kenny Vaccaro to come up with the turnover. It's a good thing for the New Orleans Saints because we talked about how they missed out on those opportunities. Kenny being able to bring the ball down and secure the interception, and a bad thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a drive killer right there. For a quarterback, it's good to be aggressive, but you got to be smart with the ball.
Well, for Roethlisberger here at home, his first interception in almost 200 attempts. On the flip side, for the Saints, that is their first interception in their opponent's last 112 passes. So right back on the ground. That's what got them going their last drive, which led to the go-ahead touchdown, and that's a gain of 4 on first down to Ingram.
We're seeing something different here from the New Orleans Saints. I mean, they're being aggressive in the run game. They've been an effective passing team that can continue to spread the ball around and dissect you in many ways. What Sean Payton understands, in order for us to do a lot of play action, to get the ball downfield to 15 to 20-yard gains, we got to run the football, and they're doing a great job there with Mark Ingram. 2nd and 5, and the Steelers read that screen beautifully. Again, Hayward was there.
Polamalu was there. That didn't fool anybody.
3rd down right now. They're one for 4, and this is the one that you want to continue to get the drive. You just created a turnover from Pittsburgh. The momentum's on your side. So just take a look here. This might be the time. Jimmy Graham has no catches right now. Take a look here. They may go to his side to utilize his size.
Well, they have Will Allen locked up with him. That's where Breeze was looking. What a hit delivered by Polamalu, and he is the one down as Toon springs back to his feet. For Polamalu, this is his first game back in the last 3 weeks. He's been out with a wounded knee.
Again, we talked about this is the time to utilize Jimmy Graham. He kept his eyes here for Jimmy Graham. Great job on the coverage there on Allen. But able to go in through his progression and allowing Toon to make that big play for him to move the chains.
Well, Polamalu, a history of concussions. In fact, his wife was quoted in the local papers just this morning as saying she wishes he would hang him up. Maybe a gain of a yard. Donovan, you look back on your career.
Yeah.
And what was your history? When you look back on it now on concussions.
Never suffered a concussion throughout my 13-year career. Yes, fortunately for me, I've had ankles, at the knee, the sports hernia, but no concussion. So thank God for that. I mean, you see some of these guys go down week after week with concussions. You have to think about how long do you really want to do this.
Ingram on 2nd down, bottled up, maybe a yard. So 3rd down and long coming up for New Orleans. Wind our way down to 2.5 to go in the first half. And Polamalu, it looks like, will stay on the sideline for this 3rd down. Will Allen, in his 11th year, has started the last couple of weeks in place of Polamalu, and Allen is having a really good year.
He's having a really good year, and it's something to be said, when guys go down, everyone's opportunity kind of elevates, and they took full advantage of it. The list went on of all the corners and defensive tackles, and now when guys get back healthy, they're there.
Looking down the field, and the catch is made. by Kenny Steels at the 20-yard line. He beat the veteran William Gay. And that'll take us to the 2-minute warning. They hit their first big one of the day, 44 yards. Follow your favorite team all season long. Just go to iTunes.com/NFL. With Donovan McNabb and Carissa Thompson, Tom Brenneman, our entire Fox crew in Pittsburgh. Steelers, a pair of field goals early, dominated the first quarter and a half. But ever since then, it's been all about the Saints. Put together a touchdown drive the last time they had it after just 2 first downs through the first quarter and a half. And they've been doing it by running the football.
10 rushes for 65 yards so far for Mark Ingram, being effective in this offense, which leads to play action passes like we've seen with Kenny Steele going downfield. Great job by Sean Payton so far of just dialing up the run and really forcing this defense to try to create a big play.
2nd and 1, they'll run it. And that's a first down. 1st and goal inside the 5 for Ingram. You know, this is not your Steelers, your father's Steelers, if you will. This is a Pittsburgh scoring team averaging 26 a game, 2nd highest in team history. But they are giving up 24 points per game, which is the most since 1988.
You know, while I played, the Pittsburgh Steelers were all about defense. Dick LeBeau just pressure, and he had the defensive line to be able to do that if he decided to sit back in the zone. Don't know if we can say that right now, the way that Saints are running the football.
Polamalu back in there, and the catch is made, and it is a touchdown to the fullback, Eric Loring. That is his first touchdown this season. 2nd touchdown throw by Breeze, all set up by the interception in the end zone by Vaccaro.
You know, here we're just running a play action pass, being able to get the fullback out in the flat, get the tight end on a corner route. Great job of just going north and south to secure for the touchdown.
Loring has played a little bit of everything. He's played defensive end going back to college. They moved him to tight end. They played him in a lot of fullback situation this year. Backup 3rd tight end at times. And now the point after is good. And this crowd is stunned. Steelers had the ball. They were on the move. The interception by Vaccaro. They hit the big pass to Stills, setting up the touchdown. 36 seconds remain until halftime, and after a very, very sluggish start, it has not taken Breeze and the Saints long to crank it up in a 14-6 lead.
You know, you look at the New Orleans Saints, and that was the big question on defense, if they will be able to create any turnovers and get off on 3rd down. They've been very effective thus far in this first half versus this Pittsburgh Steelers struggling offense. But it's something to be said about how they're playing on offense. Sustaining drives. It was a struggle early on. They were 1 for 4 on 3rd down. You know, it was the big play to the running back to give him an opportunity to pick up that first. And from then on, it's been nothing but positive yards for him.
Wheaton had the big return to set up the last drive. No chance for a return here. All right, how about it, Kurt Menefee? Coming up at halftime.
Coming up on the Visa halftime, Andy Dalton and the Bengals try to hold on to the top spot in the AFC North. The Chargers and Ravens in a battle for playoff position in Baltimore. And the Raiders play the Rams. And while those aren't playoff teams, it is Howie's favorite game of the day. Highlights and more at half.
Well, of course it's Howie's favorite game of the day. His beloved Raiders, but now he has one of his 2 sons playing, of course, for the Rams.
Yeah, it's kind of, I would say, fortunate for the family, but, you know, he's going both sides now, just being able to watch.
And I say 2 sons in the NFL. Roethlisberger fires down the middle of the field to Miller. And that is a first down up to the 43-yard line. Steelers have all 3 timeouts, and they will take one here. You know, in our hotel, we saw a lot of familiar faces walking around. The reunion of the 1974 Pittsburgh Steelers. They had some of their all-time greats here. John Stallworth, Mean Joe Green, his number retired already this year.
Mel Blount.
The only two of the big legendary names that were not here. Terry, of course, is working back in Los Angeles, and Jack Lambert not here. They had 9 Hall of Famers on that team, winning Super Bowl 9. A little trivia question here in a minute about that Super Bowl. Look out. Incomplete. Excellent coverage by Keenan Lewis, the former Steeler, on Marcus Wheaton.
Again, for a quarterback, you drop back 5 steps, give your receiver an opportunity to compete for football, but you got to put it in a position where the receiver can come and go up and go get it. There he threw it a little bit too far inside. Keenan Lewis doing a great job of getting his eyes back so that the pass interference won't be called.
So 24 seconds remain until halftime. The play clock down to 5. Antonio Brown. And they're very close to field goal range, but still plenty of time with 2 timeouts left.
You know, again, this is the big question for the New Orleans Saints. If you're going to play that far off, then you're allowing the receiver to get easy catches to get upfield. Great job by Ben Roethlisberger. Look for them to do something like that again, toward the sideline, so the receiver can catch and get out of bounds, stop the clock, and possibly take a shot in the end zone.
18 seconds remain. Oh, he missed a wide open Miller inside the 20. Did Roethlisberger there, and he's thrown a number of passes just a little bit high today.
You know, if you just take a look at Ben's footwork there, release was high, but most importantly, his base. You know, his base was off, and that was led to a high pass. But there, he had a shot to take, get Antonio Brown for the post. So expect him to do something here to get Antonio Brown the ball in his hands to try to electrify the crowd a little bit.
Well, they have the 2 timeouts after the incompletion, stopping the clock at 14 seconds. Well, that's a tough throw right there. Trying to drop it in between Robinson and White to Antonio Brown. It's incomplete. 3rd down.
You know, Ben Roethlisberger, he predetermined he was going to go to Antonio Brown here. He's got to be careful, with the corner as well as the safety being there. You don't want to lead your receiver into a headache, and there it could have been a bad collision.
Roethlisberger, the interception. They had the first couple of drives where they had to settle for field goals. And he's missed some open targets. And another throw is high and nearly intercepted off the deflection by Lofton.
Well, sometimes as a quarterback, when you're not in rhythm, you begin to force a lot of balls. You start aiming, in which you start aiming, balls start getting high, balls start going low. We've all been in that position. Ben's just got to kind of refocus again to get himself back on track. Come back in the second half, give a whole different performance, and this team will be back on track.
Well, they're going for it on 4th down rather than attempting what would be a 54-yard field goal try. Sweezum is hit from 53 just 2 weeks ago. And now the Saints want timeout. Well, after the Saints took a timeout, Mike Tomlin has changed his mind. He's going to send out his field goal kicker, Sean Sweezum. The holder is Brad Wing. Snapper is Greg Warren. And they will try a 54-yard field goal attempt. 53 yards for Sweezum in that loss to the Jets this season long. And it is no good. That's the way the first half will end. Low snap and just not enough on it. Saints on the road. Losers of 3 in a row in front 14-6. We go to Los Angeles and Kurt Menefee. Giants lead. Today's excitement brought to you by